What you want, when you want it, where you want it. This is The Mesh.
This podcast is sponsored by Jackson Creative, a custom communication agency located in downtown Hickory, specializing in online content creation. To learn more, visit thejacksoncreative.com. Jackson Creative, we tell your story.
We'll try not to too much talk over each other, but again, we are girls and we are.
Agree to disagree.
Okay,
moving on.
Well, the makeup bottle. It's like a cracked out T-bird, some grease.
Yeah, I can see that.
She's got that black hair. Hello, and welcome to Chick Chat, a very special episode, I'd like to think. I'm Mary Margaret, and that's Janette. Hey, Janette.
Hey.
Welcome to Chick Chat from our quarantine quarters.
That's right.
We are absolutely not in the same room together. We are doing this online and staying our well above 6 feet away.
We're honoring that CDC.
We've been social distancing for a while.
Yes.
But yeah, so again, welcome to Chick Chat here on The Mesh. This is what we call the guilty pleasure of the Mesh Podcast Network. But if you want to listen to some other great shows that the Mesh has to offer, please go over to themesh.tv and check that out. We have something for everybody. You know, if anything, I feel like right now is the time for podcasts. I mean, you're at home, your life has been changed, right? You know, your daily routine. Slightly. Yeah, everything. Everybody needs a little time just to decompress and separate and maybe have a little mommy time, right?
Right.
So put on those headphones and go sit in a corner and enjoy a podcast. We have something for everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what? We even have a kids podcast on the Mesh called Storytime Station.
Okay.
And you can watch it. It's video, which is pretty cool. And it's someone reading a book from, kind of startup authors that are just writing books for fun. Some are kind of silly, some are emotional. It's all very kid appropriate, but they're reading the book along with the imagery that happens at the same time. So your kids can sit in front of a screen and watch this, but they're getting a book story time. That's not normal screen time. That's appropriate screen time.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good. I wish my 1-year-old had the attention span to do that. I don't think he's there yet. We are just now getting to where he'll sit down and watch a 2 to 3 minute video on a phone or an iPad. He's not a kid who's interested in the TV. He loves commercials and he likes Blue's Clues, but try to watch anything else like, hey, let mommy do this and you watch Paw Patrol. He's like, nope, no, thank you.
That's obviously a good thing.
Yeah.
It's not bad, but it's not mommy's happiest moment, right?
Like, I love that you want to be near me and show me everything that you're picking up. But yeah.
Yeah, that's
be like a normal kid and just veg out in front of the TV all day.
Yeah, definitely.
It's allowed during quarantine.
And can we mention that I can't believe he's a year old?
Right?
Holy
He's
cow.
actually 14 months.
Oh my gosh.
I know it.
That's insane. Yeah, and I feel for you a little bit because I have no idea what that would be like in
He's a
lockdown.
little ball of energy. He's all over the place.
Wow.
And with the quarantine, he's gotten out of his routine. So it's no longer a wake up time. I'm at daycare and then I come home, I eat, I take a bath, I go to bed. It's 10 o'clock at night. I had a nap at 6. We're still going.
Yeah. Little different. Yeah. So, just to recap, I'm sure everybody doesn't need a recap, but we're on lockdown. This is being recorded in the smack dab middle of the COVID-19 pandemic crisis. We are all in different locations. Actually, our producer, Moose, is in Hickory, North Carolina. You are in Winston-Salem.
Yep.
And I am in Vancouver, Washington. So we are all experiencing the same thing, but we are in totally different locations. Yeah, I mean, we talked about this at the startup on the beginning of our last episode. Remember? And it was just kind of like, this is weird.
You had just had a few cases there, and it wasn't like, it was like, oh, this is troublesome, but
yeah, it was like, this
what's going to happen?
This is not great, but at the same time, it was like, I don't really know what's going on.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so since then, things have dramatically changed. This is a big flippin' deal. We in Washington have been on the stay-at-home order from the governor for going on probably 4 weeks now, three weeks for sure.
Okay.
So we've been on the stay-at-home order maybe a week and a half prior to, or a week, I think, prior to North Carolina was.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's intense. I mean, we're staying at home, and it is, talk about being creative and outside the box and trying to figure out something new, ways to do everything that I thought I was being an awesome parent before all this happened. I thought, like, man, I'm killing the parent game. But I'm not super confident about that anymore.
See, it's had the opposite effect on me. I'm like, it's highlighting my bad parenting skills.
Right.
So, like, I forget the kids need to eat lunch, and I'm like, what? Oh, gosh.
I know.
How many times do you need to eat a day? Just go grab something.
How many times have you eaten a day? That is, that's the whole thing. Like, I cannot believe how much my children eat. And my husband and I guess when we get in the groove of working and we're both working from home or doing anything like this, I mean, I can go have like coffee for breakfast, and then at like 1:00 or something, I'm like, oh, I need to eat something. So I just go and like, I make a random mix of stuff, whatever I kind of come across, right? I can kind of eat it on the go as I'm doing my stuff.
Right.
And then later it's like, oh, let's fix dinner, whatever. But my kids are like, what's for breakfast? What's for snack? What's for lunch? Then what's for the after lunch snack? Do we have dessert tonight? Can we bake something? Can we make something else? Like, how can I help you cook, Mommy? Let me do this. And I'm like, I don't understand the need for this. And so I'm either going, quarantine snacks are going to be the death of me, I believe.
Oh, yeah.
It's just, they're just there, and it's ridiculous because I'm at home now all the time, and my kids are eating them, and they just burn them off like nothing. But I sit there and pound out quarantine snacks like I'm in a bunker.
Right. And we have more food in the house now than probably ever before, because I think I mentioned this before, like, I just don't shop like that because we travel for soccer so much that I just keep the bare minimum going until the summer comes and we're at home, but we never really have like a freezer and pantry full of things. We have things that people like to eat, but we're always on the go, so it's not stocked. So when this first started, my daughter was like, oh, staying at the pantry, like, I don't know what to choose. There's so much. Yeah, what are we having for dinner? Can I help you cook that? All that. She's back in the role of there's nothing in his house to eat. I'm like, are you serious? I have a whole grocery store.
This is more than we've ever had. Before. Yeah.
And I'm stressed because I have never had to plan so many dinners in my life. I'm like, I don't know what I want to eat.
I've never cooked this much.
Right.
I can't think. I get through mind blocks of what are we going to eat now that we haven't already eaten in the past like 2 weeks.
Right. I get pressured not to repeat things. But then I go to the grocery store and I'm like, I go in blind, like, I'll just grab some meat and I'll grab some chicken and I'll grab some steaks, or and I'm like, I don't know what I'm going to do with all this.
I know. Well, I'll tell you, right before the lockdown, if you will, kind of happened, we got a new grill. So we have bought lots of meat. And we have cooked lots of meat on the grill. And while it's fantastic, um, it's it's a lot of grilled food. So yeah, that's more than I've ever had in our fridge before of meat at any one single time.
Yeah.
I'm like, ooh, let's buy a pack of ground beef so we can have spaghetti one night, and then I do the same thing the next week. But not now. Like now, I'm just constantly find myself looking at Pinterest for stupid recipes. Good
Right.
gracious!
And my husband has somehow gotten to his mind that I've gone to culinary school in this time. So I'll be like in the kitchen. He'll be like, "Can you whip me up some homemade Alfredo sauce?" Like, I'm sorry, what? Because I just have the ingredients on standby without having to look up a recipe and go to the store to get them. Like, I keep whipping cream and fresh Parmesan at the ready to go, just in case someone's going to order fresh Alfredo. Like, what?
My kids have started, I blame YouTube, of course. There's some YouTube horrible person out there that's been like, everybody should wake up and make smoothies. And so my kids are constantly like, do we have frozen mangoes? I'm like,
yes.
What?
Like a staple. Of course we have it.
Like, I don't have frozen mango. They're like, Mom, it says here that if we add a handful of fresh spinach, that we'll never be able to taste it if we brown it out with raspberries that have been freshly picked. And I'm like, no, that's not, we don't have any of that. We don't have it. I got some questionably fresh strawberries in the bin.
Cut off the bad parts.
That's right. Cut out the bad parts, throw it in there. Bananas are halfway to banana pudding status. And the yogurt in the fridge, I don't know, check the date. We'll see. Maybe. Yeah. And they're like, well, what's the base we can use? Is the base this and juice or water or milk? Or it says here if you have fresh lemonade that the such and such. And I'm like, just stop. You go down there and, consider it a kitchen smoothie. That means throw anything in there that's about to go bad and blend it up and see if it tastes good.
Right.
Here, look, I have a little jar of vanilla extract. Drop one dropper in there because you're going to need to cover up that flavor.
I know. My daughter still thinks I'm in the, oh, Mom, I need the zest of a lemon. Can you go get it? I'm like, no. You know what? I don't have a zester. You know what we're going to do? We're going to grate it with the grater.
That's right. You figure out how to zest it. You do it.
She's gotten into baking, which is fine. If she tells me enough ahead of time, I'll put it on the grocery order and we'll get it.
That's right.
But, you can't just come up out of nowhere with these ideas and say, she's like, what are we having for dessert now? Do we have this? I'm like, if it's not in the pantry, I don't know.
That's right. That's been the biggest struggle is getting my kids to understand that it has to be like on the grocery list. If you want me to consider getting it at the store. And then we're not going to the store like every other day, even, you get like one trip a week.
Right.
And even at that point, like I'm still distancing myself enough. I'm going to the grocery store and I'm getting out.
Oh yeah. I have a max 20 minutes in, out. I'm not doing the hour. We're not going up and down aisles. We're making a list. We're going in, we're getting out, getting fresh fruit, getting fresh meat, and we're out. But
yep.
My daughter has started. She's like, you're stressing me out because I'll be like, don't use so many paper towels.
I'm telling you.
Like, oh my God. I'm like, Ava, you don't understand. Stop spilling. Stop washing your hands.
Take your time. Slow down.
Right.
I have never used our trash can so much and our dishwasher so much.
I wash dishes in the dishwasher. Washes the dishes. Minimum once, sometimes twice a day.
Absolutely. I'm telling you, I started making the dishwasher emptying the girls' chore in the mornings.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you're going to have to empty the dishwasher because that's just what we do now. We run our dishwasher. Like my dishwasher is literally like, stop. Like I
I'm
am
convinced we're gonna have
tired.
to replace it soon.
Yeah.
My
Yeah.
stove doesn't know what's happening. Doesn't know what's happening. Like, what are you
I
doing?
have,
Why?
I have a favorite burner. Who knew? Like who knew? But I do. I do. I have a favorite one. It's the front left. And now it's my favorite. I use it all the time.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, life has changed, and my mom's like, this is like, but I think back, and we really cooked at home. My parents cooked at home when I was younger, every meal. And I'm like, I don't know what to cook. I'm getting out my parents' recipe books. I'm doing Pinterest. I'm calling my mom. Like, I remember you made this once. I need you to talk me through it. And I liked it. I don't know if they're gonna like it. And it's become this whole, I really feel like anxiety because I'm like, I feel the bad mom in me coming out. Because I'll look at, you know, everybody in this house except my son is self-sufficient. So I'll be looking at him like, I need to feed you.
How can I get creative?
And I can't ask you what you want. I've got some food for you in the pantry, but you probably don't want it. You've been snacking a lot. How hungry are you?
Talk to me, 14-month-old.
Like,
Tell
do you
me
want to just eat
everything.
off my plate? Is that cool? My
Yeah.
daughter is like, Mom, can I drink the quarantine water? Because I've got bottles of water. I'm like, yes. I was like, we're officially in quarantine. You're allowed to
Yeah.
have it now.
Now I can drink quarantine water. Yeah. It's
But
it is, the whole thing's just really bizarre. I mean, the whole situation, and I get it. I get that we're supposed to be doing this. I hope everybody else is doing it. That's what they say is going to be the only thing that stops this, are these essential trips to the grocery store, to the pharmacy, whatever it is that you have to do. But, I'd like to think we've been doing a good job of it within our household. Um, I just hope that everybody else continues to do it. It's scary, that's the whole thing's kind of, like I said, it's bizarre. It's super crazy. But, um, I mean, have you just not learned so much about not only the people in your household, but like society as a whole? What
it's,
you've seen, how people react to this?
I mean, it's really my mom is a rock star at this. She has not left the house past the front porch since it was even announced. And
Same.
this is when West Virginia had 0 cases. She's like, nope, I'm not going anywhere. I'm like, and she literally has, I think she's gone to the grocery store maybe twice.
Mm-hmm.
But, we'll send her stuff in the mail. So I'm like, I'm going out to mailing you things, and she'll have people
Right.
drop stuff off on the porch. But she's like, I'm not going anywhere. So
Yeah.
she's a rock star at this. But like, just to see things like the pollution levels and how they decrease, sometimes I do sit back and think, this is like what was needed. Sometimes the world course corrects itself.
Yeah.
And it's almost like we were doing such damage that it was almost like a timeout. This is the worst timeout you could get. But I mean, it's one of those things where you're just like, this, except for the going out of the house part, not being able to roam freely. And,
Yeah.
I'm pretty introverted, and I like to stay home every now and then, but I do like to venture out occasionally.
Sure.
I did like our soccer trips, even as stressful as they were. We enjoyed them and seeing other people. But it does make you realize, like, the whole family time together has been nice.
Mm-hmm.
Having my daughter want to bake and cooking dinner, even though I don't know what I'm going to cook. When when we're all at the table eating together, it's fun. It's,
Mm-hmm.
we find different ways to entertain each other. We find different ways to give each other personal space, but it's just, it's been fun. I mean, it's been
Yeah.
fun, but terrifying.
Of
And
course.
kind of like,
It's a
I
weird
love you
mix.
all, but I'm ready for everything to go back to normal.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, it's difficult just to, within our family ourselves, we've had to postpone some things that we would typically do. There's no summer vacation on the books anymore. Weddings have been pushed out from summer to fall. Trips up home to see people have been pushed out from summer to fall, or see you again next Thanksgiving or Christmas, hopefully. So it's changed. I do think I'm a little more appreciative. I did sit back and say, as much as I will never, ever, ever complain about having to take my daughter to soccer practice ever again, like,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
I actually miss it.
Yeah. Yeah. No, and I miss it for the kids.
Yeah.
I mean, my daughters had one softball practice
Yeah.
before all this happened. And then
For middle
nothing.
school?
Well, our schools out here don't have softball
Okay.
in schools. So it's all basically club
Okay.
style softball until you get to high school. But I mean, that means it was, there's essentially some travel team stuff involved with it.
Sure.
So um, the tournaments were supposed to start in mid-April, and they would do some weekend tournaments here, and that goes through like the end of June, maybe into the 1st of July. And that's just all kind of a wash right now. We actually don't know much about what's going to happen with it. And I hate that for my kids. They miss that. They get so excited about sports seasons and different things. And yeah, I mean, I'm kind of the same way. Like, you want to go to softball practice? I'll take you. I'll drop what I'm doing and I'll go take you. And it's fine. I'm going to sit out there because we're outside enjoying the fresh air, and I can maybe talk to some other parents. And I just can't do that right now. But yeah, I miss the sports of it. We, having just moved out here this past year, we had a lot of adventures planned for this summer. I mean, camping is something we really like to do, and we wanted to do a lot more of. And, at first we were like, oh, well, this whole thing's going to kind of be a strain on schools and activities and big things. But camping, we'll go camping. Well, now everything's closed, and they say, don't go camping. All the parks and the different places, they're all closed, as they should be. I get it. But so even now we're just like, we want to go camping. We want to go on trails, and we want to explore like where we live now in all these different cities. And it's just not on the books right now. We'll have to just address whenever they lift any of the bans. Which, I'll be honest, like, good gracious, like I'm nervous about the day they say, okay, the ban is lifted for the lockdown, while I'm excited to go to a restaurant or go get my hair cut or go to the movies or something. Like, I just don't want to feel like I'm in a cesspool everywhere I go.
I think people will be wearing masks for the foreseeable future for a while.
I do too.
Like, my daughter had just made the middle school soccer team, and they had several practices. She had just gotten her uniform and her schedule, and games were supposed to start the following week. And that's when they canceled school, or closed the schools down. So right now we're supposed to, or the kids are supposed to go back to school May 15th.
Mm-hmm.
They haven't changed that yet. In North Carolina, the curve is flattening. They're expecting our peak to hit early to mid-May. So it all depends on how that looks in a few weeks.
Yeah.
And I told her, I was like, just to kind of keep some hope alive, I'm like, look, I don't know if you'll go back to school this year. If you do, you'll have a month left. There's a chance that you guys will get a couple of soccer games in. They may do an abbreviated season just to get something done, because they know you guys miss it. So just don't panic yet.
Mm-hmm.
I'm anticipating they probably won't go back to school, but we'll see. I mean,
right. Well,
you never know.
Washington State closed schools indefinitely for the rest of the year earlier this week. So we are officially not going back to school in the face-to-face learning. Everything is going to be online now until the end of the year, obviously. And then the day after the governor made that announcement, then the Washington inner something Athletic Association, WIAA, whoever handles all the high school level sports, basically, they made one final plea to see if they could, after our stay at home ban would be lifted, if they could do some sports, and the state said no, which again, I understand, and that's fine, but it's crummy, right? So it's, no spring sports, no more school activities, no more face-to-face school. And And our stay-at-home order is now currently through May 5th. So we'll see they're just going to readdress things as that date gets closer. So we'll see.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's going to be interesting.
Ours is till May 29th, but I think they'll extend it a week or two. But they moved the May 5th. It was originally the kids were supposed to go back April 6th. So this past Monday, but then they moved it pretty early to May 15th. So, I don't know. I think everyone's feeling they don't want to send people back too early, but then you've also have to make the decision of how soon is too soon? When is it okay? At some point, it does have to go back.
Yeah.
And you may see kids wearing masks, and I mean, who knows? It's just, as much as you hate to say it, you hope the curve starts to flatten a little bit more. The warmer weather comes around and people are outside, because being outside, I think, does help. And unfortunately, I think we are going to see some cases continue throughout the year, but hopefully not at the scale that it's at now.
Right.
But I do think at some point you can't be shut in forever.
Yeah.
It's just trying to figure out how you move forward. And I think that's a lot of what's happening now, is saying we have to do it at some point, but what precautions do we put in place when we do it? Do we continue sports? Do we say limited school hours, things like that? Do we go to school on a rotating basis? So, grades 1 through whatever, online learning, except for Tuesdays and Thursdays, or, for certain grades, do you do things like that? Which they could. So, I don't know.
Well, but I think they'll start, my personal opinion is, I think whenever these bans start being lifted, it'll come with caveats, right? Like, I think there's going to be like, okay, so the ban is lifted for the stay-at-home order. So maybe restaurants can open back up, but maybe they'll only be at like 50% capacity because they have to space people out more. And maybe the hair salons will open back up, but you can only have people at certain spaces or times or whatever. Little things like that. I do think that it's going to be a while before they start allowing large scale gatherings, like major sporting events and concerts. Things, out here, 4th of July, I'm told, is extremely big in Washington, or at least in Vancouver. And the National Historic Site of Fort Vancouver has a huge fireworks show and, festivities on the 4th, and they've already canceled that. So, I think that's just because it's such a large gathering of people.
Yeah.
But I tell you what, I'm super bummed about, because I have a feeling we have tickets to a concert in July, and it was going to be, all 4 of us are going, and it was going to be our daughter's first concert. And I have a feeling it's going to be canceled. Funny enough, it's at the casino here, because it's a smaller scale, like ballroom where they're having it. And it was just on a whim. The tickets are for Weezer. Okay. So we were going to go see Weezer as a family. And I mean, my husband and I, our 90s inner child, were just super pumped about it. And the girls love Weezer. And so we were going to go to this concert at A&A, the casino, in their small ballroom. Like, it's a max of 2,000 people. And Weezer's on a major stadium tour these days with like Fall Out Boy and Green Day, I believe.
Oh, okay.
And so they were coming from Seattle and heading down to Portland. And those are, major city, major concert venues, like huge stadiums. And Weezer pops up randomly one day saying, just Weezer is going to make a pit stop at the casino for the small scale venue to play one night show on our way to Portland. And so we sat in line, like online, and bought tickets, and so pumped. And the girls are so excited. And I'm worried that it's going to be canceled.
Oh, we'll see.
But we know, got to do what we got to do. But that's kind of pissed about that. But whatever.
You hate to see that those numbers tick up every day. I've stopped watching the news as much,
Yeah, I
just
know.
because I need
Same
some
here.
uplifting news. And I was encouraged with the news yesterday, even though I think when the governors give their updates, they don't want to be too optimistic because
Yeah,
we don't want people to be like, "Oh, he's optimistic." The stay-at-home orders, whatever. We can go out in the streets and do stuff.
I
So
can
I
go
think
out
they
now.
still
Right.
do some precautionary things. But I was encouraged just from work and everything, just hearing people who work in the hospital setting say the latest is that we're doing better. Um, our peak is mid-May, but they're even thinking that might not be as large scale as they think it is. So, I mean, it's good to hear some encouraging news and to
Yeah.
keep hope that, obviously here, I mean, you still have family here back here, but it's really the larger cities that are being hit hardest, like the Raleigh-Durham area and the Charlotte area. Charlotte
Sure.
probably more so. From what I understand, is they have a lot more cases than anywhere else. But even there, they're not flattening as quickly, but they're seeing some results of the stay-at-home
Yeah.
order. They went on stay-at-home orders before anybody else did. So
Well,
yeah, we just hope
hopefully we
people
see
do what
some
it takes.
progress.
There's still going to be people who are like, "This isn't real. This isn't whatever." And I have some of those people that I know that talk like that and post things like that. So,
Yeah,
like,
same here.
it's real until it hits you. And unfortunately, I think the last time, when this first started, it was like, does anybody know anybody with this? And since that time, I'm like, yeah, I know people who've had it. And unfortunately, I know at least one person who has died from it, like
Oh, goodness.
personally. So it's, it's a
It's
for real
real.
thing. Like, we've taken to wearing masks outside in the stores. We've gotten creative. Like, my daughter's like, "What are we making masks out of today?" No, I'm like, "Today's we're making masks out of socks." So that's our latest one. She's like, "You've gotten carried away. This quarantine is making you crazy." I'm like, "It really is."
Yeah,
I didn't know I was creative. Normally, I'm not this creative.
who knew? Who knew the skills we all had, right? I do hope that there's some positive things that come out of this in the long run, some compassion, some understanding. I even saw Dr. Fauci, who I love. I don't know if everybody's watching him, right?
Yeah.
But, he even said that obviously he knows this would never happen to a full extent. But in a perfect world, he would tell people to never handshake ever again. He's like, look, he's like, I mean, yeah, this COVID-19, like, don't handshake people. He's like, but down the road, like, who knows? He's like, and people's hands be dirty, I mean, people be gross.
I'm fine
So
without it.
yeah, he's like, don't just, yeah, in a perfect world, we wouldn't handshake. We wouldn't ever,
Yeah.
maybe then you wouldn't even get a cold sometimes that you could have had. Right. So, um, yeah, I think there's just going to be an understanding. I do think that there's going to be some changes in how businesses all operate, how they are able to maybe do some things remotely. Maybe people can, um, you know, not necessarily lose their jobs. It's more how they can reappropriate the right ways for some businesses to operate. Maybe it's beneficial. Maybe people just learn, like I said, a little compassion out of this and kind of band together of like, this is what we're capable of doing. Like, stay at home, follow the rules for a little while, and let's just get through this. So, speaking of positive stuff about this, so have you guys been, I know you've probably seen like on TV, there's commercials now about businesses and how they're operating through COVID-19 and the changes they're making. I saw a heating and air commercial where the
Yeah.
guys saying they're now doing contact free and they wear the masks and the gloves and they comply with CDC regulations. Like, maybe they should be doing that all along, right? So these are things that we're learning, but now people are having to promote themselves into that. I thought this would be a good time to maybe give a shout out to some businesses in each of our areas that we have noticed are doing something good out of this. Now, obviously, we have not near enough time to promote every business and every industry that's doing something because it's been really cool to see the humanity of people businesses stopping production so that they can make masks, or companies learning how to make ventilators. I mean, I think it was like car manufacturers are making ventilators and stuff. Like, that's super cool to me. And while I understand it disrupts their normal business, they're doing this to help people. And people, again, making masks and sending it to local groups and all that stuff is amazing. And we're so grateful for all of that. But I wanted just to maybe take a second for each of us to describe maybe one or two businesses or local groups that you wanted to give a shout out to.
Sure. So, and this may be nationwide, but I know in our area, the YMCA has closed, obviously, for business. But what they're doing is they're providing meals and daycare options across our county for frontline workers. So EMT, nurses, doctors, anyone in the medical industry, grocery store workers, any essential workers, that's what they're doing. And they're working with them, as far as, we'll help share the load. So that's one. The other is more of a local group. So my daughter's former elementary school, the cafeteria staff is still making meals for those students who were, in need of some meal assistance at home, some food insecurity things. So they've been making and delivering this food. So our PTA for that school has actually started working around the county and wherever they can reach out to friends on Facebook or whatever to help support that team and get them masks and get them the resources they need so that we can continue to do that, so that they can do that safely, and that they can continue to provide that service to the families in our little town.
That's great. Give me the name of your little town and give those people a shout out. What's the group?
So it's Clemmons, North Carolina, and it's the Morgan Elementary School PTA.
Way to go, Morgan PTA. Excellent. Hey, that's Winston-Salem. That is or Clemmons area right around Winston-Salem. That is an amazing stuff they're doing. I've heard a lot about schools, needing to get meals out to groups and things. And, that's so important. Obviously, we talked about how much our kids eat. It's just important. And to know that there are some children that are out there that don't have that capabilities. It's super important that our groups are banding together and doing that. So big shout out to those groups. Thank you so much for doing that. As I mentioned before, our producer, Moose, is in Hickory, North Carolina. So, Moose, are you there? Are you on the call? Get in here. Hop in our room. I'm looking to see his little... There he is.
Hey, guys.
Hey, Moose. How's it going?
It's going great. Just recording a great podcast from the comforts of my house.
Comforts of your house. Well, we're happy to have you on here. I did want to reach out to you and see if you wanted to spotlight one or two businesses in the Hickory area, again, Hickory, North Carolina, that you wanted to shine some light on. Again, there's so many to shine a spotlight on that we would never be able to finish an episode, but we're going to continue this. We've never been a show really to promote individual businesses that much. But I think now's the time. Now's the perfect time. And we're going to do this over the next however many episodes it takes. So, Moose, who you got?
Well, I've got a friend, and you do too, that owns a soap shop downtown Hickory called Artisan Soapery. Our friend Katie is the owner proprietor of that place. And she has basically turned her business from soap to hand sanitizer. And she is churning it out, and she's partnering with Old Hickory Brewery, and they're doing package sales, and also you get a 6-pack of beers and a bottle of hand sanitizer, for curbside service. So there's a lot of really cool stuff with the local community and business owners around here that are really stepping up to the plate to try to bridge gaps for folks. And it's great to see. We're also seeing a lot of, and I don't know about you guys in your area, but a lot of businesses that have some sort of alcohol based product, like distilleries and things like that. They're turning their business from alcohol production to hand sanitizers and other things. So not to mention the other fabricators in our area that are switching from socks to masks, and there's a ton of those. So it's really cool to see how the local community is turning cool stuff around.
Definitely. So shout out to Artisan Soapery in Hickory, North Carolina, teaming up with lots of other businesses in the area. But Katie's been doing a great job out there. You should follow her on Facebook and see what all she's doing. She's keeping a super positive attitude throughout the whole thing as well. So we're really, really, really proud of her and her team and all they're doing. So thank you, Artisan Soapery. Yeah, so Moose, everything else is going well for you guys? You feeling good about everything?
Yeah, feeling really good. We're able to record all of our shows on the mesh through a new platform that we've come across, and it's working out great. And the quality is fantastic. You guys will probably be listening to it right now. So just getting used to doing things differently, and I think everybody's like that. And it's it's an adventure to say the least.
Yep. Well, thanks for all you're doing, Moose, on making sure we can get this episode out and in a timely fashion. And thanks for your shout out.
You're welcome. Right. You guys have a good show, guys.
Thank you. So here in Vancouver, of course, we have had some of these same kind of situations where we have had schools working together to get food out. We've had companies switching their main form of income into making masks or making hospital equipment, gathering up drives to get all sorts of supplies to the people that need them. But I wanted to give 2 shout outs to some people that are very near and dear to our hearts, and that is in our local restaurant industry. Not only are they continuing and have adjusted on a very quick time turnaround ways to provide takeout food and curbside, procedures, if you will. They have also gone above and beyond when it came to offering discounts to local frontline people as well as teachers. Come in, show your teacher card, you get big discount on your food. I think right now, as we've obviously talked about, we have quite the food need sometimes, a variety in our households. And these local businesses that are locally owned, locally operated, are doing just a stand-up job for providing to people to give a little variety, but also just keep the community operating. And I would love to give a shout out to, first of all, Mount Tabor Brewing. This is our neighborhood brewery. We live right behind them. We walk and ride our bikes over to the brewery. Normally a very family-friendly restaurant. They do have an outdoor seating area that they have now opened up the windows into that garage door access there by their outdoor seating. And that's where they serve people. And you go up there, and they even bought a canning machine that they will now can their beers on site. So you can just take a 6-pack home with you if you want of any type of beers of theirs. But they have a wood fire pizza area, and they have a singing wood fire guy. He's always singing. And I don't know if that's kind of a catch of theirs, but I just love it. He's always singing along with whatever song's on the radio. So it's fun to watch him cook pizzas. But their pizzas are delicious. Their food's delicious. You order up a pizza, they'll have it ready on the counter for you. And they've just kept such a good, positive attitude through everything. It's really nice, and we're happy to support that local business. Again, that's Mount Tabor Brewing. And then my second one is also a restaurant because it's in our same neighborhood area, and it's called Farrar's Bistro. And Farrar's is more of a, like it's like a Cheers, right? It's your Cheers. It's where you walk in and the people know your name, and they have a nice bar area, but then they also have a restaurant seating on the other side. And they shifted immediately to takeout orders only. They've opted to change their menu up. They do a daily special that they've also provided the take and bake meals. So you can take the food and take it home and freeze it and then cook it yourself if you want. And then there's a little gas station right beside them, our Minute Mart, and they have packaged up salads and sold them at the Minute Mart as well. And so just they've kind of recreated themselves into adjusting to what this is needed and what people are needing. And again, just being able to keep a positive attitude through this and still provide things on a local level. Super, super happy to be a part of this neighborhood. And again, that is Farrar's Bistro, and they, Mount Tabor and Farrar's are both located in Vancouver, Washington, in the Philida neighborhood. So shout out to those guys. Yeah, just, if we're going to have to kind of get through this all together, I'm so excited that these local communities and businesses across the country, obviously on the East Coast and West Coast for us, are stepping up to the plate and doing what people need to stay happy. So thanks a lot, everybody. And, Janette, we would be remiss to not do in our show what we normally do. Is talk about what's on TV, what's on the movies. And, right now, more than ever, we're seeing a lot of really neat things happen on the big screen, right? Or on the small screen, whichever one you're looking at.
The big screen in our house.
That's right. The biggest screen we have, right? Access to. There's companies that are putting out movies early. There's people that are going straight to online access. There's digital downloads, those type of things. Disney Plus has released things earlier than scheduled. Netflix is putting more and more content out. HBO is offering a week free of services, things like that. So I've been loving that. Going to be honest. Aside from my normal TV watching stuff, has there been anything that you've watched or started or enjoyed that you wanted to let us know so that everybody else might go check it out?
So TV wise, I haven't had a lot of time to do a lot of Netflix and Hulu catching up as I, again, 1-year-old.
Of course.
And just with everybody home, but I'm still trying to keep up with Schitt's Creek. That's Schitt's with this SCH.
Gosh, I love Schitt's Creek.
Is one of my favorites. I'm super sad that this is the last season. So I think I'm like 2 episodes behind right now. So that'll be I wake up on the weekend and watch it episodes, or go to bed when everyone else is asleep. I'll watch it. But
so let me tell you, I started watching Schitt's Creek upon lockdown. Like that's the first time I had ever seen it. Yes.
Okay.
I of course had heard about it, but I'd just never seen it. It's on Pop as it's happening live, but first 5 seasons are on Netflix, and that's where I binged it. I'm now at the beginning of season 5. So I have season 5, and then I've started saving Schitt's Creek on my YouTube TV where I watch on my live TV so that I'll have all of season 6 whenever I finish 5. The show's amazing, and it's only 30-minute episodes. So for people that just want something quick and funny and lighthearted, start from the beginning, get on Netflix and watch it. It is phenomenal.
Yeah. And I haven't quite caught up to Grey's Anatomy yet, but that's on my list. And I'm questioning whether or not I want to go back and watch How to Get Away with Murder. I don't know. It's on my
Same.
But I've been doing movie night with my daughter. Last night was family movie night. So the first movie my daughter and I watched was Frozen 2 on Disney Plus. That's the thing she's excited about, is because I finally gave in to Disney Plus during lockdown. I was like, fine, we're gonna get it.
Well worth the money, I believe.
Was. And actually it worked out because we got the Disney Plus bundle. I already had Hulu. So when I did the math, and I was like, Disney Plus Hulu is more expensive than the bundle. So I just bundled it, and then my husband got the benefit of ESPN Plus through that. Yep. So I was like, Merry Christmas, happy anniversary, all of that, happy birthday. It's like, you get ESPN Plus. So everybody in my house is happy
right now.
Yeah, he'll watch whatever's on there. It has all the 30 episodes, and it has all that. So he's happy. Everyone in my family's happy. So it was money well spent.
Yes.
But they released Frozen 2 on that. So we watched that. Loved it. Let me tell you what I love the most about it is that there's the possibility for Frozen 3. I have loved Frozen 1, the first Frozen. I've loved Frozen 2. And I do think there's the eventuality and probability of Frozen 3 because we have to see Anna and get married. I mean,
Absolutely.
we have
I
to
do
see that.
think we watched it as well. We actually saw Frozen. So we're big movie goers, my daughters and I. That's kind of our thing to do, especially if it's a rainy day or anything. We just love that. And so it's kind of their treat sometimes, and we anticipate movie releases, right? So we actually saw Frozen 2 in the theaters before all this went down. But they have watched it numerous times on Disney Plus. Like I said, my Disney Plus membership is paying for itself now during lockdown because it is offered so much. Frozen 2, my girls liked better than Frozen 1.
Yeah. My daughter did too.
And
I think I did too. The music, I
I'm
like the music
torn.
better. I like the references that they made to Frozen 1 and the Let It Go. And
It's fantastic. They've actually, on the soundtrack, if you guys find the soundtrack online, they have 3 separate songs that are performed by today's artists. Panic at the Disco, Weezer, and Marin, what's her name? What's the country girl's name?
I know you're talking about.
Yeah, that girl.
Maren Morris.
Maren Morris, yes.
Yeah. Good gracious, Moose. Thanks. They have recordings of the Frozen songs performed by those bands, which is fantastic. Okay, so like I said, big Weezer fan, right? So Weezer performs the song that Christoph sings,
In the woods.
Lost in the Woods. Yes.
Yeah.
And if you go and find, Weezer has created a music video that mimics what's happening in the movie. So the lead singer, Rivers, is actually dressed up as Christoph. Kristen Bell is playing Anna. And they are performing this in a music video. It's phenomenal. So anyway, I enjoyed Frozen 2 as well. I thought it was very well done. I thought it's a little bit of had a very mature feeling to it, but still being kid friendly. It was still very, I don't know. It's just not too silly, it's
I've
still
always thought they
mature
did
enough.
a good job of balancing it out where you get the adult jokes that the kids are just like, I don't know why that's funny to you, but it's not like offensively funny, but you get for the adults why it's funny. And then they have the funny kid moments too.
That's right.
Yeah.
So what else? What other movies?
So last night, family night, we watched Onward, which is another, I think, new release that they put on Disney Plus.
It is. They came out super early.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed that. That was another one where I kind of laughed, like, this is funny.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I like that it wasn't what it wasn't like the typical, oh, this is what's going to happen. I mean, it kind of was, but it kind of wasn't. It was almost like, oh, wow. Okay. I get it. This is pretty smart. I almost for a second forgot that I was watching a cartoon.
That's right.
Because it was so well done that I was like, this is a movie. Oh yeah, but it's a cartoon.
Yeah. I actually had, again, saw this in the theater prior to, because it was one we had anxiously awaited. It's the last movie we saw in the theater before lockdown, but it is, I thought it was great. It's sort of not your typical, it's not a princess movie. It's not a, boy and girl have a crush and live happily ever after type stuff. And, as Frozen focuses on 2 sisters, this actually focuses on 2 brothers, which I think is also something we don't see a lot of, especially in kind of cartoonish Disney stuff. But the creativity throughout that movie is just unbelievable because the concept is that this is a land that used to be full of magic, had unicorns, had wizards and creative stuff like this, has now kind of gone to pot, right? Like it is, the unicorns are sort of like raccoons, like they go through your trash and everything, and like the pet is like a little dragon instead of a dog, and the mom is spraying the lizard or the dragon with a water bottle to get it to stop barking and jumping, right? So I mean, the creativity is unbelievable, but the story is just really well done. I thought I really enjoyed Onward. my older brother, I have two brothers who are, we're all really close. And my oldest brother, who hosts Foot Candle Films on the Mesh, he watched Onward with his family, who are all grown children. They're not little kids anymore. And he told me, he's like, I admit, I got a little dusty in our room and a little misty eyed, and I think it just applied differently to boys because the brother concept in there. So I definitely would recommend Onward to anyone.
Yeah, it's good. We're anxiously awaiting the release of Trolls tomorrow. So
same here.
That is our next movie night.
Yes. Well, we'll definitely have to touch on Trolls later because I love it as well.
I love Trolls. I can't wait.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Justin Timberlake singing. How can you not enjoy it, right?
They have me there.
As we mentioned in the last episode, my daughters have a new appreciation for NSYNC. So they're big Justin fans now, right? Well, we've done a lot of the same, a lot of kid movie stuff, a lot of things like that. But so as I mentioned, I've been watching Schitt's Creek as well. I also, I'm still watching Survivor. So that kind of keeps me on sort of that game show concept there. Grey's Anatomy I'm caught up with. I'm not super happy with it, but I'm caught up with it. So it's kind of one of those, I gotta watch it, right? I really enjoy Bless This Mess, Dax Shepard, and Lake Bell. It's a great show. And so that's been going on. And that, again, kind of keeps me happy throughout the time. Here's my trash list that I've been watching, because I do have a trash list always, right? Summer House on Bravo.
I'm a little behind on that one. Well, a lot behind.
Oh my gosh. You want to talk about trash. I mean, it's kind of...
This is the first season I haven't watched it weekly, but...
Yeah, it's I just can't believe that these people have, like, families and friends that watch this on TV. Like, there's just no way I would say or do some of the things that these people say and do on national television.
Like, my show would be so boring because I'd be like, I'm not going home and explaining this to my parents.
I know.
I don't care how much money you're paying me.
They say things and I find myself with my jaw open watching the screen. Like, what did you just say? Like, do you not have like a grandpa somewhere that's seeing this or whatnot? Or I don't know. It just seems bizarre to me that there's people like this. I know there is. I get it. They're real, but like, good gracious. Anyway, I can't stop watching it. Still watch it. Whatever. There's a new show this season or this year on I think it's Bravo, called Family Karma.
Oh, love that. I've been watching that.
Okay. So it is, I've been watching it as well. I saw the preview a while back and was like, I'll try it. And it is following the Indian culture of this like group of lifelong friends and their whole just lifestyle and relationships and culture and stuff that they're trying to, I get like you're trying to shine a spotlight on the Indian culture. It's insane. It's pretty interesting, I think. You've been watching it, you said?
I have been watching it. I think what I love about it is it's not like you said, it's trying to highlight on the Indian culture, but it's not stereotypical. Yes, they still do they show their religion and their festivity things that they have. But what I found is not that I had any preconceived notions, but I was like, oh, okay. Like I have some friends who are part of the Indian culture that, I wasn't super aware of, what was going on behind the scenes, but you do think like, okay, they're very conservative and strict and they don't do that. That's just like one of those things, right? Not that that was my perception of them, but
right.
I know of others who have that perception. And this is just kind of like, they're normal people. Like they go and they drink and they party and they do, and their parents know that they do it. Because I think the whole thing with, in that culture, a lot of them live with their parents into a very late age. So that, I think that in itself says, oh, there's some conservative things, but the families are hilarious. Like I want to hang out with some of these families and just,
I I love some of these parents that are just like,
Yes.
yeah, I don't really care what my kids do as long as they get married and give me grandchildren.
Right.
That's all they focus on and all they care about. It's so funny. And the group they call the aunties, which
Yes.
is every
Love
every
them.
family, yeah, that in this sort of community, these families, all the moms get together, right? And they're called the aunties because they sort of parent over everybody else's children.
Mhm.
So all the children, one line I thought best described it at the beginning of the shows, they said, our parents had arranged marriages, we had arranged friendships.
Yeah.
Because all these parents that have known each other and live in the same community basically force fed their children together of these are your friends, this is what's going to be your community. And so you're just following their lives. So Family Karma is one I've enjoyed and kind of been watching, but it is a reality show, like, so be it. Also, Real Housewives of New York is back.
Without
And
Bethany, right?
without Bethany, right? Which is the very first thing they show on the very first episode. There's only been one episode thus far. So I'm an OG watcher. I love New York. That's the show that I always drift to of the Real Housewives series. So it is no Bethany. There's a new girl on there, and I can't think of her name right now, but she's something special. She's unique. She's something. At first I kind of was like, ooh, I don't think she's going to fit in because she's a little normal, but turns out she's not. So it's worth watching as well. The very first thing that comes on that episode is all the women reading articles on their phones that Bethany has quit the show. And like none of them knew it ahead of time. So is what it is, but I always watch it.
Yeah, I don't really watch that one. Ramona, that cast just kind of gets. I watched the first season, maybe the second season too, but then after that, I was just like, I can't do this.
Well, it goes back to the summer house concept. Like, how in the world do people watch this and not just cower in embarrassment? Like, I don't understand. And how do you yourself not watch it and be embarrassed?
Oh,
like,
yeah,
their lifestyles are one thing, but the way they conduct themselves, it makes me feel better about myself. It really does. It's a confidence booster for me. Let's be honest.
Speaking of reality shows, what will we watch next year? Because most of his reality shows film in like the March to August timeframe.
Well, I was going to bring that up. Like, so do you think, so obviously a lot of shows have been on hiatus right now, right? They can't get together and shoot things. I've seen a lot of stuff, which is pretty cool. The whole Zoom or webinars or through FaceTime or whatever, where casts have gotten together and you're seeing it. That's one thing coming out of this whole pandemic, obviously, is that I'm loving seeing people's like houses in the back of their Zoom, right? But, yeah, so all these people are on hiatus. A lot of shows aren't happening, like The Bachelorette. They were getting ready to start. They announced her. They had their cast and everything. And now it's on hold and they're going to have to recast all the people, which I thought was interesting. But so 2 questions. One, do you think the pandemic, COVID-19 specifically, is going to be a plot line on shows in the future? You do. So back when 9/11 happened, like I remember specifically Friends episodes that had already aired, and then were on syndication. They went back and they cropped out the World Trade Center towers out of the episodes so that it wasn't, a reminder, right, for people. Do you think that's going to happen to where people are skittish about talking about it? Or, I mean, I foresee something like a Grey's Anatomy absolutely handling
they'll have a whole episode on it.
Right. But you don't think it's going to be like taboo?
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
I think people will start referencing like quarantine or even have some episodes about being quarantined. And no, I don't think that'll be I mean, I think 9/11 was completely different because we were attacked by human beings, and it was a tragedy because planes were flown into buildings. That was completely
terrorism.
Different. That was terrorism. This is, a virus, we're being attacked by a virus, an unseen living thing. So I think there's some, like we're talking about, people talking about, like, after the quarantine, how they've changed, like,
Right.
I can see some episodes coming out with like people getting their hair cut or being happy to go to the barber or being happy about little things. Yeah, I definitely seeing this being built into plot lines, and like, will they do Big Brother this year? Like,
right. Yeah.
But yeah, I can definitely see on, all shows at least some reference to the pandemic, because actually the show Blackish and Mixedish, yeah, Mixedish, last week, I think, they actually aired an episode about, both shows aired episodes about the flu vaccine. And the whole thing was, get whether or not to get the flu vaccine.
Yeah.
And, Bo's a doctor and all this stuff. So it was that discussion was taking place on that show. It had already been filmed prior to this happening, but I think they saw the opportunity of, hey, this is on target. This is with the time. So let's air it again. So they've already done something there, but I think they'll go further. Yeah, I definitely think you'll see some references to the family shows of everyone being quarantined together.
Yeah.
I don't know how far they'll take it, but I think we'll see something.
Yeah. Yeah. Agreed. Well, we'll definitely have to keep our eyes and ears peeled for what's happening coming up. Like you said, I mean, fall TV, right? This is crucial time for it right now.
There's no May sweeps. There'll be any May sweeps.
No May sweeps. That's right. And we need to, I don't know what they're going to do. I mean, we might be in the land of reruns for a little while or something, but goodness, it's going to be interesting, because obviously for their safety too. I mean, they can't be on, a set doing all this right now. So we'll see how quick they go into action. Same with the movie industry. I foresee movies in our future about these situations, and, some dramatized, obviously, but some, now it's a lot more real. The movie Outbreak is a lot more real to people now, right?
I want to go back and watch Outbreak. My husband's like, why? Like, no.
I mean, there's
we're living it.
Yeah. Well, it was funny. The other day we were scrolling through a list to see some movies that we might want to like watch. It was just me and my husband, and one that popped up was The Day After Tomorrow, and we both were like, nope, keep scrolling.
I know, it's like Outbreak, Contagion, let's watch it. He's like, I don't want to.
I know. Like, I don't
want to watch Gwyneth Paltrow touch anybody and infect the entire world.
Maybe she did. We don't know. We won't know for a while, but it's okay. I mean, I don't know. It has definitely been a crazy ride. I appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedule.
I've got places to be and things to do, people to see.
I know. Thank you for taking the time.
Dance for this.
Yay, normal clothes.
I put on normal clothes with a button. No drawstring.
I don't know if mine still fit. I'm not even going to try them on. Damn quarantine snacks. Well, again, thank you for taking the time to do this episode. I think maybe we should schedule one sooner than later for the next one, because we got some time to do this.
I've got time on my hands.
Yep. So maybe look for another one, and then we can spotlight some more area businesses too, and give some credit where credit is due. Moose, you still out there?
Hey girl.
Hey girl. Listen, just, we're going to put this episode out, see what happens. And then we're going to try to schedule something, pretty soon, but thanks for popping in today, Moose, and making this happen.
You got it anytime. Just let me know when you want to do it.
You got it. All right, guys. So as a reminder, this is Chick Chat on the Mesh. I hope you've enjoyed our recap of what Janette and Mary Margaret do when locked in their house. Please be smart. Please follow directions. Please listen to your governors and statewide rules so that we can get through this, everyone, as best as possible. Wash your hands, stay 6 feet apart, follow all that stuff. But In the meantime, be sure to go check out themesh.tv and listen to any of our podcasts on there. Everything is free. Everything can be downloaded, so you don't even have to have the internet after you've downloaded episodes. When you subscribe to one, you'll get a notification about the new episode that's up. So that's pretty cool too. We also have some very timely episodes on there. There's some resources there available for small businesses on Entrepreneur Exchange, as well as tips for working from home on Brothers in Tech, which I'm pretty partial to because those are my brothers. So go check them out and take a listen to anything else you think you might enjoy. We hope you guys stay safe and healthy. And if you have a specific business that you'd like to give a shout out to, and you're one of our listeners, please, by all means, drop us a line at info@themesh.tv. We'd love to give a shout out to as many people as possible, not to mention all of the healthcare workers, the frontline people out there doing what they got to do to keep us all safe and healthy. So thank you to all those. But Janette, until next time, girl, you stay safe.
You do the same.
I'm not even going to end on catch you on the flip side because I don't think that sounds right now.
Oh, yeah.
So you know what?
Whenever that happens.
I'm just going to say I'll talk to you later, okay?
That's right. All right, talk to you later.
All right, everybody. Thanks so much. Take care.
You've been listening to The Mesh, an online media network of shows and programs ranging from business to arts, sports to entertainment, music to community. All programs are available on the website as well as through iTunes and YouTube. Check us out online at themesh.tv. Discover other network shows and give us feedback on what you just heard.